Well, South Africa's Q1 employment numbers show that the country added 56,000 jobs in the first quarter of this year, bringing the total number of people employed in the formal non-agricultural sector to 9.8 million. But as we know, unemployment remains a tremendous challenge for this country. Youth unemployment in particular is a pressing issue, with more than half of the population aged 18 to 24 unemployed. We're joined now by Lulaway CEO Jake Willis to discuss some of the research done by the company. Now, Lulaway has placed more than 30,000 job seekers in employment and internship opportunities. Jake, thank you for your time today. Thanks for joining us in studio.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about Lulaway does. You were telling me in the break that it has been around for more than 8 years. Of course, as I said, placing young people in employment, in internship opportunities. Tell us about who Lulaway is.
So, still don't really know what we are, but what I do know is that we put a lot of people into jobs. And we kind of started out with really just a very basic challenge, you know, where I remember at the time we had these internet cafes. I had young people coming in looking for jobs, and, you know, we were sort of trying to help them out in this way and that way. And the first, you know, we sort of started looking around at companies that had jobs and had opportunities and trying to link them up. And we realized that there are a lot of opportunities out there, but the sort of process of getting young people from the streets, I suppose, into jobs was just not organized, not very cumbersome, and just not slick, you know. And what happened is that, you know, because of that sort of process, you would end up having situations where employers would just sort of take people by, you know, just ask somebody to bring their friend, their brother, their sister, a lot of nepotism and that kind of a thing. And the biggest challenge with that was really the fact that the wrong people were getting to the wrong jobs, and also the general sort of sense of hopelessness that you tend to find in a lot of the townships where people feel that there are no jobs out there. But that said, if you go into any of the malls, anywhere, you know, there's lots of people working. So you can't say that there are no jobs, but yet they're invisible. So, you know, our first kind of point of call was to say, how do we create visibility around it? How do we create a better, fairer process that actually works?
And how have you done that? I mean, talk us through a little bit about connecting young people with the jobs that exist, finding the right people for the right jobs. How practically does one do that?
So what we did is, you know, sort of starting out from these internet cafes, so the idea was, you know, what we did realize is that young people were looking for some kind of physical point of presence. You know, you know, as much as you could sort of print out a bunch of CVs and go drop them here and drop them there and, you know, try to sort of load things on the internet, people wanted to sort of be seen to be doing something specific about it. So what we did is we created this network of job centers, which were basically sort of partnering with a whole host of different sort of players that have some kind of infrastructure, and you know, turning them into some kind of a job center where young people could come in. Sort of in this job center, we would then get them onto the internet platform, to sort of, you know, by taking the photographs, scanning the documentation, to putting them through some assessments. And then once they're sort of digitized, we would go out to employers and say, okay, here's the people that you're looking for, as opposed to sort of waiting for somebody to rock up at your doorstep and drop off a CV. Here's a platform that you could use to find better people quicker.
Now, you've done some really interesting research insofar as young people and job opportunities are concerned. Among the more worrying stats is that only 50% of young people who pre-qualified for interviews actually pitched up. And this research done across 2,000 individuals, so say 1,000 people of 2,000. And then 30% or 600 dropped out of the job to which they had been assigned within 3 months. Worrying indeed, especially in such a country in a country such as ours with such high levels of youth unemployment. It's hard to believe that that would be the case, that so many people would be leaving jobs once they had them. What is driving that?
So I think it's a major challenge. I think one of the sort of biggest challenges we've got in this country is the fact that everybody's talking about unemployment, and I think for 20 years we've been having a very serious conversation, you know, about about the sort of enabling environment, or about the, you know, what is government and what is society as a whole doing about creating opportunities for young people. And I think right now, not to say government is perfect in any way, shape, or form, but there is a huge amount of support, financial and physical, in many ways, for, you know, young disadvantaged people to find jobs. But I think it's time that we really start having a very serious conversation about what are young people doing, once they get these opportunities. And like we're saying, I mean, I always say that, whenever you get 50 young people to go for an interview, 25 of them pitch and the other 25 are busy demonstrating as to why aren't there any jobs. So, we have this culture of kind of, a little bit of a culture of entitlement, a little bit of a culture of sort of expecting that everything is going to work out the way you want it to be. And I mean, I know myself, I'm sure yourself, when I started working, I can't tell you the stuff I did. I mean, from moving furniture to waiting tables to mopping floors to a whole bunch of things. Now, a lot of young people nowadays, they come out of school and they expect that they're going to walk into some comfortable office and sort of sit around and do some strategy work or whatever it is, and it just doesn't work that way. And I think we really need to start having some serious conversations about that.
Right, well, we are going to have to leave it there. Thanks very much to Jake Willis. Jake is the CEO of Lulaway.